parent-teacher conference! No!
Research shows that children whose parents get involved in their education do better academically, so parent-teacher conferences are an important element of a child's education, but some parents just don't bother to attend them. Well, now a prosecutor in Michigan wants to make those meetings a legal obligation. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy is actually proposing a law that would throw parents who skip parent-teacher conferences in jail for 3 days. And she's joining us this morning from Detroit. Prosecutor Worthy, thank you so much for joining us. And I got to tell you, I was just floored when I first heard this proposal. 3 days in jail for missing a parent-teacher conference. What do you say to people who think this is the nanny state on steroids?
Well, a lot of people say that we shouldn't legislate morality, but we already do. We legislate for children specifically that they have to be in car seats. We legislate that parents have to send their children to school if they're 6 to 15 years old. And here in Michigan, you can go to jail for up to 30 days in jail if you don't send your children to school. We legislate drinking and driving. We legislate leaving your kids alone. So we legislate all kinds of things already when it comes to children.
But jail for missing a conference?
Well, this is a part, what's not been reported a lot is that this is about a full comprehensive package we put together. And this is but one aspect of it. And again, it's not that you miss one and you go to jail. That's not it at all. You schedule it. You have up to 3 opportunities to schedule your conferences at your convenience: night, afternoons, and midnight for parents who work. And also you have exemptions. It's not for children who are doing well in school. If your child is performing well in all their classes, we're not talking about you. If you can't make it to the school because you're sick or infirm, or for other reasons you can't get there, as long as you're contacting the school in some way. And even if you don't go as well, as long as you're contacting in some way. So again, there are exemptions. We're not talking about the first time. We're not talking about the second time. We're not even talking about the third and fourth time. And there are also intervention services before we get there as well.
So this is only for the most extreme cases. You know, we talked to a random sampling of people in Detroit about your proposal. We want to show you a bit of what they had to say.
It would be great for the parents to be more involved, but it's hard, you know.
Why send a parent to jail for 3 days because they didn't attend a parent-teacher conference? Go out there and get the real criminals just actually committing crimes instead of going at a parent.
They do need to make parents more accountable.
I feel like it's ridiculous. If you do get jailed, you have a possibility of losing your job.
I don't think it's feasible.
It's not a good idea.
I think that it's good that the law has stepped in. That makes you wake up and say, I need to get up to this school.
Wide variety right there. What have you been hearing in Detroit?
Pretty much the same thing, but when people hear the details of it, they say, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know if I was sick and couldn't go, there are other options. I didn't know that if my child was doing well, there are other options. But the biggest thing really is that people don't realize that in this state already, you can already go to jail for, like I said, up to a month if you don't send your child to school. And people don't really know that either. But it's important as a prosecutor, for us to understand this. We prosecute aggressively violent crimes, and more and more and more we're seeing students as young as 10, 11, 12, 13 committing the most violent of crimes. And guess what we find out? They're not in school, they don't have parental supervision, and that parent has not been up to that school. And so again, this is but one in a series of things that we want to try to introduce that will go right to parental responsibility, and ultimately, if our children are in school and doing well, they are not out committing crimes.
Good morning, Mrs. Smith. I'm so glad you could make it today. It seems your son Timmy is having some trouble in my class. He has been placed in school suspension 3 times this semester, and he is now failing. We need to come up with a plan to help Timmy be more successful in school. You're the teacher. Why don't you come up with a plan on your own? Mrs. Smith, I can only help Timmy while he is here at school. I need you to help by following through with the plan at home. Timmy doesn't get in trouble at home. He only has problems at school. You hate him. You're out to get my son. Mrs. Smith, that simply isn't true. I treat your son fairly, just as I treat all of my other students. Timmy told me that you pick on him because he doesn't turn in his homework. That isn't exactly true. I asked Timmy why he wasn't doing his homework. I wanted to know if he needed help with the assignments. He needs extra time. Timmy has a learning disability. I think he's dyslexic. He has ADD. He has ADHD. He has an autism spectrum disorder. He sees a psychiatrist. He has a 504 plan. It's all in his 504 plan. I'm very surprised to hear that Timmy has so many difficulties. There is nothing in his cumulative file to suggest that he needs special education services. Perhaps we should have him tested by our school's diagnostician. No. I want him tested for GT. He's very, very smart. He's a genius. He is definitely gifted. Timmy has never received a grade higher than a C. He isn't passing in any subject. He is only reading on a first grade level. He is in 5th grade, and he can barely recognize basic sight words. He's bored. He doesn't do his work, because he's a super genius, and he's bored. He needs to be challenged. All right, Mrs. Smith. I will refer Timmy to our gifted and talented specialist for testing. In the meantime, what can we do to help Timmy bring his grades up? I want you to tutor him. He needs extra help. I would be happy to tutor Timmy. I have tutoring groups after school on Mondays and Wednesdays. Timmy is welcome to come either day. No. Timmy is busy then. He plays soccer, and football, and baseball, and basketball, and he is on the swim team and the tennis team, and he rides horses competitively. Perhaps it would be best if Timmy gave up some of his after-school activities until he brings his grades up. After all, what is more important? Playing sports or passing the 5th grade? Why, oh, you don't understand. Timmy plays select soccer. He's good. He's really, really good. He had his picture in the paper. I have a clipping in my purse, if you want to see it. Well then, perhaps I could tutor Timmy during recess. He could stay in with me 1 or 2 days a week, until his grades improve. No. Timmy has to go outside. He has to play with his friends. If he doesn't play outside, he has panic attacks. It's all in his 504 plan. Did you read it? It's all in there. He has to have recess. Mrs. Smith, I'm not sure what you want me to do. It's your fault that he's failing. You aren't teaching him right. I talked to all of the other parents, and they say you teach differently than the other teachers. If you taught the way they teach, he would be passing. I'm very surprised to hear that. Especially since all of the 5th grade teachers plan our lessons together. Timmy says you make it too hard on purpose. You make him learn too much. Mrs. Smith, I teach the curriculum given to me by the state. I only teach the material that the students are required by law to know. Are you calling Timmy a liar? He would never lie to me. If he says you are making it too hard, then it's true. He always tells the truth. You're the liar. It seems that our conference is not being very productive, Mrs. Smith. Perhaps it would be best if we rescheduled for a time when an administrator can be present. No, that won't be necessary. I'm going to the principal to complain about you right now. I'm going to tell her what a horrible teacher you are, and how you won't tutor Timmy. I'm a taxpayer. I pay your salary. You work for me. I think it would be best if you leave now. Mrs. Smith, you haven't heard the last of this. I'm going to the school board. I know people. My mother knows a lady who has a friend that goes to the same hairstylist as the superintendent's 3rd cousin. I'm going to tell them what an awful teacher you are, and how you pick on Timmy, and make him learn too much. You'll never work as a teacher again. I wish that were true. Goodbye, Mrs. Smith.
I will have order! Sit at your desks at once! Now, this is my classroom, and you will behave yourself. My name is Miss Collins. I am the teacher. You are the parents. You have come here today so that we can discuss your brats, so let's discuss him. Now, you know, when I first met Bubba, I thought he was the most hateful bully I had ever met. But having met his parents, I have only sympathy for him. A belligerent, insensitive father, a selfish mother, and an uncaring, bitter grandmother. These are the people he has to come home to every day. Now, let me tell you something. We are going to make a better life for Bubba, even if it means I have to come over to your house every day and knock your heads together. From now on, you're going to give some loving care and attention to his life and his welfare. That's all. I'll see you the same time again next week.
Well, I don't believe I've ever been spoken to.
Class dismissed.
No, just a darn...
Get out! Out! Out!
What did I tell you? What kind of a
the chances our boy got in this place, huh?
Board of Education's gonna hear about this.
Why the hell did you drag me?
Well, who the hell did you?